Hello folks, Jonathan Milam here. Just a guy that loves trumpets. If there was any confusion about me being a full-time professional trumpeter, that will be dispelled when I begin playing. But the way I learned, you strive for tone. And I am more than blessed with a good number of pro horns laying around and the willingness to share them. This is one that I have wanted to have ever since I first saw one. And I was thinking today, it must have been 11 or 12 years ago. I hope it wasn't 15 years ago. Not a rich guy here, so it takes me a while. You got to get one that's owned about 8 times, so it trickles down in value until it finally falls into these grubby and slightly dirty hands working with plants today. Pardon me. Adams A4 LT. And what a really, really impressive horn. Now, just real quickly, picked it up and thought, whoa, that's a fairly heavy horn. Cleaned it up today. You'll learn so much when you really clean a horn up. Like, the weight is primarily in not the body of the horn so much, but it's steered near the center of the horn. Very heavy slides. Most times you drop a slide, you pick it up, you're worried about the slide. You drop this slide out, I'd be worried about the floor. Check and see if the floor is dented. Little humor there, but very heavy slides. A judicious amount of weight in the top and bottom caps. But then again, you've got it centered near the center of the horn, the weight, where you really want it. The bell, relatively light. It's a 45 gauge, which is next to the lightest, I think, that Adams makes. They make a 40, perhaps special order, a little less than that. Got a 55 gauge, so a heavier gauge. Adams A1 Gen 1, fantastic trumpet. In fact, I'll be demoing these back and forth a little bit. Funny thing about this is lighter valve body on this and a heavier bell, and on the A4 a slightly heavier body and a lighter bell. Very interesting. In fact, I like this very much. Also, I like the A1 Gen 1 very much. I'm going to compare it with an old Benge, which is a fantastic horn. Got a custom Jaeger here because I want to hear what the timbre. Jaeger's a tremendous horn, what the timbre's like, and of course a Bach Strad, which I will pull in. Won't be doing all 5 horns back to back, but subtly bringing them in to just exhibit. Like on this first mouthpiece, I'll be playing about all of them, I think. I don't even know what the name of this is. L? L is for the way you look at me, I think is what it is. Just going to tootle around with that a little bit. Adams A4 LT, and starting off with a GR64 MX mouthpiece. Isn't that a good sound? Now, when I've heard people play the A4, lead players, got a friend that had it before me, she demoed some other horns with it, and I thought, that is a slightly, it's just not the most piercing sound that you would expect from a bell this light. I don't want to say muted, but slightly breathier. Something along those lines. Maybe I'm not elucidating it real well in my mind, let alone speaking, but not the sharp sound you would expect from a lighter bell. Now, we'll contrast that, and down below you'll see the clips Each of these separate, if you want to just shoot right back and forth, the Adams A4, the Adams A1, the Benge, the Adams A4, the Adams A4, the Stradivarius, see how they sound. But you do get a very clear sound with this. This is the Adams A1 Trent's design, and this is the Gen 1 with still the GR64 MX mouthpiece. And that last phrase on the A4LT. Okay, got a great Benge here. In fact, if you've gone down to these clips, you passed something up. On the first line are the horns that I've got for sale. And this lovely Benge 3X is there. And it doesn't take a backseat to anything. Even a horn, 3 or 4 times more costly. So on the first line of the comments, you've got a link there to Trumpet Herald. Great place. It's where I got this Adams Gen 1, A1 Gen 1. It's where I got this Jaeger. trumpetherald.com, great forum. And the marketplace is it's a good place to live. All right, custom Jaeger trumpet here. Slightly fuller sound than a lot of horns, little stronger, thicker gauge metal. Tremendous horn. It also is at the moment for sale at trumpetherald.com for the staggering sum of $14.95. Custom horn. I believe these are stainless valves. Excellent valves. Tremendous horn, as you will hear now. And I'm anxious to see how it compares to the A4 back to back. Okay, and that last phrase again with the A4. I like that sound. Gold brass bell, so it takes a little bit of the edge off. Funny, but I was comparing this to the A1 bell. This bell is larger through this area. I think you're going to call that the taper. But when you get into the throat, which is the area you can see in here, the throat, I don't think this bell is quite as large in the throat as the Adams A1. So again, a little fuller here. That's going to give you a little more sound, a little smaller here. I heard one pro player I think he said there's a choke in this horn. Not this horn, he was talking about another horn. He said it's right in the throat. Well, I wondered if that is not also somewhat true about the A4, because it's reputed to have a pretty light open blow through this area, but I need something to blow against. I don't like a lot of resistance in the mouthpiece. I do like it in the back of the horn. One reason I like a Bach Strad large bore with the 25 bell. I feel just a little bit of resistance in the back of the horn, and I find that very comforting. Very comforting. Okay, I did want to compare this, contrast this, and again, you want to hear these without all the talk. You can go right to the bottom and compare each clip against another clip. Now, this is a Strad lightweight body, courtesy of Charlie Melk. He made it a removable, tunable bell, and lightweight body, and you've got the, what did they call this? It's the 43B bell. That's a bronze bell, and I think they used to use this on the Mariaci some. Great, great sound. I do like me some Strad. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go to a deeper mouthpiece, considerably deeper, because the A4 is known as a relatively free-blowing horn. So I'm going to take a very deep Reeves mouthpiece, their C2J, and since it gets already a, not necessarily a dark, but a darkish, slightly darkish sound, I'm going to try this deep trumpet-flugel mouthpiece from Bob Reeves with the A4 LT. Should be pretty. Should be pretty. Now, I've watched a few vids at YouTube about the A4LT, and I saw a guy yesterday, great player, Nashville player. In fact, I watched him demo this A4, and I thought, boy, I need to leave a comment. That's an excellent demo. I'd left one 3 years ago. But lead player, and he was using this. I'll be honest. If I were a lead player, this would not be the only horn that I would take to a lead gig, because for whatever reason, it just seems like it is, it gets a slightly darkish sound, breathy sound maybe, something along those lines. But if I were a lead player and I were going to be doing some solos that were not at the peak of my range and I didn't have to come over an orchestra or a band or something like that, now you're talking. Because I think this is an open horn in the upper register. Now, I'm going to finish up, I think, with a couple of Monette pieces. This is a Monette BLM, quite a shallow piece. Thank God it's got a big throat there, and probably about a 22 drill, I believe, as I've measured it. Then I've got another great Monette that I'll try with this. But if you did want to momentarily try and get a lead sound out of this, it might sound something like this. Redlining a little bit there, sorry about that, was not my intention. Okay, last mouthpiece I'm going to use is such an interesting piece. Okay, when I got this Monette BLM, could not play the rim, just couldn't do it. I use about a 7 diameter. I can do a 5 on a good day if it's a small 5. I could not do justice to this rim. And so I got this bigger Monette in, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to have the rim taken off and then, put my particular rim on it. This is a Monette B6D S1. A lot of players that use a 3, but they want a bigger sound, they can use this. The BD, that's for deep. It is pretty deep. And the drill on this thing is really big. I know it's bigger than an 18, bigger than a 19, because I think that's as large as I can measure. And I suspect it's around a 17 or so. That's a pretty big drill. I would not want to use this on a 4-hour gig. But amazingly, this rim works for me, and I'm used to a 7. Very comfortable. It's a flattish rim, which usually drives me crazy. I would call this a great rim. If you play a 5 diameter, think you could manage it. Play a 3 probably. I've read some guys that like to use a 1, 1 1/4 that really like this mouthpiece when they wanted a big sound. But with that big drill, it would take good chops to manage it for 4 hours. I think it gets a big sound, not necessarily overly dark, just big, and certainly not overly bright with that drill size. Going to give myself a moment because I'm going to want to get this clip, and I don't want to start the clip with that blat. It's the mouthpiece, believe me. Well, folks, hope you've enjoyed this. You got 5 horns out of it. I'd have found something you liked. But I am impressed with this Adams A4. This is the LT lighter version. Now, this is a medium large bore, I believe. That's a 460. They make a 470. They're large bore. They make several different bell sizes. They make a 5.5, which is a big bell. Personally, I don't like those really big bells. If I had this in a 4 3/4, I'd probably be a little happier. But this is a good size 5, maybe just over 5 inches here. Livable throat, little larger taper, so it does give you that big full sound. And a gold brass bell. Very, very impressive. Worth the wait is what I would say about this Adams A4LT. Hope you've enjoyed it. Love the comments below. Got a couple of these horns at the moment that are listed. Benge, nice Benge 3X. Almost a perfect condition Jaeger custom horn. And I'm really anxious to see. Fact, oh, you can cut out now if you want, but I think I'll play that Jaeger with this same mouthpiece, put that clip below, and then see how the two compare to each other. All right, still love the comments. Take care of yourself, as I usually say, and someone near you.